Hi, I'm Julia Levine, and I am the current Poet Laureate for the City of Davis. When I was asked to write a poem for Martin Luther King's Day, I thought long and hard about it, whether just to decline, since, as you can see, I'm white, or whether it made more sense to go ahead and write a poem about my dilemma in writing the poem. And I decided that if I wrote a poem describing my dilemma and also asked the wonderful poet Traci Gourdine to read with me, that would be the win-win. So I'm going to go ahead and read my poem for Martin Luther King Day, which is called When a White Person Writes a Poem for Martin Luther King's Day. When a white person writes a poem for Martin Luther King's Day, you must remember the beast of oppression is easily forgotten in such a lovely city, with its majestic street trees and children swinging in city parks, and the good people shopping for their dinner, picking between blood oranges and mandarins, bicycles slid neatly into racks, electric cars plugged into charge. Mostly unseen, its beastly systems sleep deep inside the caged ribs she carries, silent as a hotel soap wrapped in its white paper. Meanwhile, she reads and weeps at the police shootings, the slurs, the statistics that will remain for her just that. Of course, she is ashamed. The ideals of justice are beautiful and true, even if still far away. And she knows all that was cruelly taken and never given back is hugely wrong, because it is. But then who can blame the nature of a beast on the beast itself, especially when the world is drowning and everyone who wants a chance to live threatens the system's customary order? If anything will ever change, perhaps it is today she should imagine what it would take to step out of line and let others get on board the raft before her. And if she protests, asking, why should I be consigned to the last? Then remember, the beast stops at nothing. To save itself, the beast will do whatever it takes. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Traci Gourdine, and I was invited to do this reading by your Poet Laureate, Julia Levine, and it was a little difficult assignment for me. I did not want to write an occasional poem with the usual platitudes, but I came with this poem called Under the Influence of Love, after the death of MLK. This poem basically looks at the months and maybe a few years after King's death, in which so many strides and accomplishments had occurred in the Black community throughout the nation. And we began to celebrate and relax ourselves. So this poem shows how we celebrated and danced, thinking that our troubles had pretty much subsided. Of course, we were wrong. Under the influence of love. After the death of MLK, we grew afros so high they fell like soufflés. In the black light basement parties, we danced close and hard, swaying James Brown, the stylistics, the chai lights, the OJs, the dramatics, the slow pulse love songs, rhythm and beats limbered our hips, showing off our latest moves learned that morning on Soul Train. We were unafraid. No violence could reach inside, turn the boys who held us into chalk marks on the street. Even the door broke a sweat from the heat of us. Outside, the revolution was winding down, and we forgot the fight, wanted to forget the smell, fire and blood, the swirl and threat, red lights, blue lights coming at us in the streets, the sound of feet running, hearts pounding upstairs, the fear traded from one generation to the next. We wanted to forget. We were not marching across bridges. We were not sitting at lunch counters while men, boys threw soda and fists at us. We were walking to house parties, later fetching rides to White Castle, sipping on Annie Greenspring's Thunderbird, the tail ends of joints, fogging up windows in parked cars with our love. We spent hours playing out those songs, our arms layered in bangles laced around the necks of boys who pulled us in, their hands aching to wander in the way they palm basketballs just that afternoon. It was settled. We didn't have to be mad or crouched no more. We were fly. Black mares in Newark, Atlanta, Detroit. We were fine. Johnson Products, the first Black-owned company on the U.S. Stock Exchange. We were foxy. Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan, Beverly Johnson, Patricia Harris Hayes. We were bad, hitting 175 home runs, winning Wimbledon, and taking 8 nights to show roots. And without a dime or a plan, we believed it was settled. The revolution had been won and laid down, lower than the bass in Barry White's voice, saying, "Pay attention to the love touch. Nothing can hurt you now." Thank you.